So, yes, we need to strengthen our cybersecurity, make sure Russia, Saudi Arabia, any country is not getting into our cyber infrastructure, possibly hacking electrical grids, as they're now huffing about, even though I see no proof of that. But this talk of it's the new Cold War, this talk of it's worse than the Cold War. Well, all I got to say, remember this? Again, tomorrow, the 15-year anniversary of the Iraq War, folks. Launched on fraudulent and fake intelligence, but the consequences very real. So you have Michael McFaul on Morning Joe uttering this nonsense. And now, let me play another clip that I think shows the, I don't even know what you call it. It's just mass derangement and hysteria across cable news, CNN, MSNBC. It's obviously for ratings, but it's very dangerous. Here we go.
He's proving it every day. And David Ignatius, I would like to ask you, Russia attacked us. The commander-in-chief has done little about this, has said practically nothing about this. What's the impact of his inaction and his inability to deal with attacks on his country, our country? What's the impact of that on diplomats around the world and on the intelligence community here in this country?
Well, this is a period in which Russia appears resurgent, Mike. Vladimir Putin has just been wildly, clamorously reelected. He will be the leader of Russia until 2024. And we have other nations stepping forward to challenge Putin. I'm struck by the fact that Britain, a country that in many ways is on its back heel after Brexit, is leading a coalition that has France, Germany, and the kind of a somewhat reluctant additional participant is the United States under President Trump. I'm glad that the U.S. has joined in condemning Russian actions. Trump has been a little more forthcoming in his statements. But the point you make that he is preoccupied with these domestic issues is the right one. I have to say, Mike and everybody, a tonic for me watching this circus, as Mike says, it's exhausting, it drives you crazy, was listening to Senator Jeff Flake.
I mean, where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? First of all, Russia attacked us. So you keep hearing this language of war and attack and challenge Russia. It's all a not so subtle way of saying we need to act. We need to launch some type of action against a nuclear armed power with an authoritarian leader who's crazy. Putin is crazy. And by the way, that gentleman talking right now, David Ignatius, let me read you a little bit about David Ignatius. This is from Counterpunch. Hold on one second. Over the past several decades, Ignatius has defended the CIA's political assassination program and argued that no investigation was necessary because, quote, nobody has been killed. He never condemned the CIA training of death squads in Central America, including Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador. He never deplored the CIA's Phoenix operation during the Vietnam War, when the agency ran a paramilitary campaign of interrogation, torture, and assassination that targeted many innocent civilians. And he never favored accountability for agency operatives who manned the secret prisons and conducted the programs of torture and abuse. Thus, it is no surprise, writing in the Washington Post on Monday, welcomed President Trump's ingratiating message after months of attacks on the agency. According to Ignatius, the CIA was tired of having a, quote, kick me sign on its backside and found it, quote, nice to be massaged. He made no attempts to assess the danger of trying to co-opt and politicize an intelligence agency that must remain apolitical in order to carry out its missions. And there was no attempt to judge the indignity of CIA officers responding enthusiastically to the president's harsh political statements, particularly his attacks on the press. Ignatius even endorsed the self-serving remarks of agency operatives and praised the appointments of CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Brennan has never been popular in the Directorate of Operations because he was an intelligence analyst who received an unusual appointment to be a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia, and as director merged the intelligence analysts and clandestine operatives into one bureaucratic organization. I mean, I could go on about David Ignatius. He's been a CIA mouthpiece masquerading as a journalist for, I think, 30 years. I don't know where he was before the Washington Post. He's not a journalist. He literally has a speed dial Rolodex of CIA officials who feed him 9 out of 10 times propaganda and lies, and he then passes it off in the pages of the Washington Post.